Hi everyone, my name is Oliver Nagio and I'm going to be going through the Private Practice 101 application, which is specifically for our South African clients. So you would have either purchased this product by searching for a practice number, and you probably would have come across it there, or you would have come across it on the application store on your IsoEvolve software. So I'm going to go through both of those options, and I think the first thing is just to bear in mind what the application covers. So typically, if you were searching for a practice number, you would have come across this page on our website, and essentially the product is to get you started with your private practice, and that typically involves getting a registration number or a practice number from the BHF, registering with each one of the medical aids, and then what we also included in there is some of the training sessions that we have with clients on a weekly basis. It's more a support meeting, but there've been some interesting conversations that we've had with a few of the clients, and I thought it's best to include some of those in. We also included our Practice Management CPD course and you can get your 5 ethics points from that. And it's obviously there's lots of practice management courses, but it's our version of what we think a practice management course should be, and talking about the various aspects of private practice management. We included a link or interviews that we've had on our Molding Private Practice show, where we've interviewed different practitioners talking about their experiences of becoming a healthcare practitioner as well as going into private practice, and some of the challenges that they've faced. And then lastly, we've included 6 months of the IsoEvolve PM module, and so essentially just to get you started and to make sure that you start with a proper practice management software that you can grow your private practice from day one. So let's go into it. So essentially that would be it on the website. So I'm going to log in now, and if you do have a IsoEvolve account, you would log in with your details. If you don't, one will be issued to you if you did purchase the product. But essentially, if you did have an IsoEvolve account, the application would typically be on the application store, and if you go down, you'll see Private Practice 101. And if this wasn't enabled on your account, you would there's a link button to purchase the product, and you would pretty much click on that. You would purchase the product, and the team within typically 1 working day would be able to enable the account access for you and confirm that we have received the payment. So I'm going to log in now with an account that does have the application enabled. And again, if I go down to that, you'll see now there's a nice access button. If I click on that, I'm going to be going through each one of the sections, and just so that we'll be on the same page with it, and pretty much what the product covers. We covered it a few seconds ago, but this is obviously the implementation. So the first one is getting your private practice number, and again, this is only for clients in South Africa, and this is typically done with the BHF in South Africa. And I think it's important to note that you can't get your practice number until you have your registration as a practitioner, and that's typically in South Africa with the HPC-SA. It also lists the documents that's required for the practice number, and that's typically your ID documents, your registration certificate from the HPC-SA, and the fact that you have good standing with the HPC-SA. Once you have that, you can send that off to us at info@ketron.com. We'll prepare the application form for you, and we'll send it back to you so that you can review the information and you can get that signed. And then we typically submit that application to the BHF for you on your behalf. At this point, it's not mentioned there, but we'll do that using the email address that's specified on your IsoEvolve account, which also forwards to your primary email as you have it. The second part to this is your registration with medical aids. Again, a disclaimer, you can't do this until you have your practice number, but once you have your practice number, we then can go ahead and get some of the registrations done for your medical aids. I think it would have been covered in some of the sessions that we've done with clients as well. So there's two ways to do the registration. One is you take a list of all of the medical aids in South Africa or the medical aid schemes, and you register with each one of them. In our experience, and this is the concept between the medical aid scheme and the medical aid administrator, that is typically not the same. So there's normally an administrator, and then there's the scheme themselves. So what we did was we mentioned that if we did the strategy of registering with each one of the schemes, and there's 7 of those, that will cover almost 100 of the medical aids in South Africa. And that's a fair chunk of that. I mean, considering that, most private practices, you're seeing probably between 30 to 80 clients, and not all of them will have each one of the 100 medical aids in South Africa. But there might be a case where, for instance, you're seeing a client and they have a medical aid and that's not on one of these listed ones. And the typical scenario then is you can then get the registration done at that point. So there's no reason, unless you really wanted to, but there's no reason to go get all 200 odd medical aid registrations done. If you did come across that scenario, you have 4 months to submit a claim to the medical aid from the date of the appointment. So there's ample time just to get the registration done and then submit the claim. And the process, again, for us to assist you with this is there's a list of documents. So it's similar to the practice number, with the exception that we need proof from the BHF of your practice number, which we would have received if we did that registration, and we need proof of the bank account for your private practice. I think this as well we covered in a few of the training sessions. Please make sure that your bank account is not the same as your personal account. I think it's best to do it at this point so that it's set up properly. Same procedure as the practice number. Just send the information to info@kitron.com. The team will prepare your registration forms and send it to you for review and signature, and then once we get the signed forms back, we can then submit it for you. And the typical lead time to get this done is between 15 and 30 working days, depending on each one of their schemes and administrators. So that's the registration with medical aids. And then to go through the other ones, which are more trivial, our private practice management course, that will give you 5 ethics points in South Africa, and it covers it's our 10-step process, which we cover strategy and mapping out your journey, ethical considerations, marketing considerations, legal considerations, people and human resource considerations, processes and operational functional considerations, billing, financials and tax considerations, continuous learning and education considerations, coaching and mentorship considerations, and lastly, tools and resources. It's done in video format as well as audio, so you choose that. There's a simple 5 questions that you need to answer. Once you've answered those and you click the submit button, our team will get receipt of that. If you do get all of them right, then the 5 CPD points will be applied to the HPCSA, and you should get your CPD points allocated to your account. These were the previous support meetings that I mentioned, and there's 3 of them. Each one is about between 45 to 60 minutes, and it covers different sessions that we've had with different practitioners and talking about their experiences of private practice, and us talking about medical aids, registrations, and practice number and software and all of that great stuff. I think the important thing just to mention with this is that you can see that these weekly meetings are on a Monday at 11 o'clock UK time. So in South Africa, it's currently summer. It's currently summer in the Northern Hemisphere, so it's a 1 hour time difference. So in South Africa, it would be at 12 o'clock South African time, and in the winter times with daylight savings, it would be at 2 o'clock. At 1 o'clock. Sorry, South African time. In terms of the interviews with other healthcare practitioners in private practice, we use our podcast as a platform to be able to showcase these experiences, since it's kind of standardized, and we go through a standard format that we take each practitioner through, and depending on your discipline, you should find a practitioner type that probably would resonate to you. But I would definitely encourage you to look at the different ones anyway, and just make sure that that it is like that you can learn something from there, and and I think with every practitioner type you would definitely take something away from it, because they are very similar in terms of the experiences of private practice and the apprehension about going into private practice and stuff like that. I think what we did find is there's definitely some congruence across the many episodes that we've done with practitioners. Interestingly as well, there are practitioners from the UK, from New Zealand, and Nigeria, India. Some of the practitioners also have dual registrations in other countries. For instance, with Rosie, she's qualified in the UK as well as in Turkey, and I think it just gives us a different perspective, that it's not, I think practitioners have the same experiences, I think, of being a healthcare practitioner firstly, and then secondly going into private practice. And lastly, just a write-up on our IsoEvolve PM software, PM module software, and that basically just articulates what I said earlier in terms of your 6 months access. If you do already have a subscription with us, the finance team will be able to put that on hold until obviously your 6 months elapses, and then the subscription will be enabled again. And if you didn't have access, this particular account you can see has the module enabled, but if you didn't have access, the team will enable an access to you or for you. And what we did include was our standard training video that we normally send to clients that have registered for a IsoEvolve PM module subscription. With everything, and I even mentioned it here, if you do have any questions or any concerns, just send an email to info@kitron.com, and the team will be able to action your request. If you need to set up a meeting with the team, it's the link that we use is kitron.com/book/appointment.